This is Healing at Soul Level with your host, Shawna Williams. Shawna is here to provide various forms of healing that are non-invasive, that promote relaxation and aid the body in naturally healing itself by using ancient healing techniques that have been around for centuries. So please welcome the host of Healing at Soul Level, Shawna Williams.
Hello and welcome to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Alijandra is an internationally known author, teacher, and healer. She has focused her attention for the last 35 years to the development and practice of color energy therapy, where she is widely seen as a pioneer in this field. She continues to work on new techniques and modalities in order to help hold the balance of light on the planet through her spiritual healing. Alijandra, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Shawna. I'm glad to be here. I have to tell you right off, I love the name of your show.
Well, that's what we try and do here. Everybody who's been on the show, that's our goal, is to heal everybody at the soul level. So,
yes. Well, it sounds like you're doing a really good job putting that out there.
Oh,
so
thank you.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. So, can you tell me first, how did you get into color therapy?
Wow. Well, I started as a nurse originally, and this, if we have some people that have heard me speak before, this will be a little bit of a repeat, but for new people, started off, well, actually, even before being a nurse, I was so fascinated, as a teenager with the body, how it worked, anatomy. I would sit and look at anatomy books and, things like heart transplants, which were really big, coming up and getting really big at the time. We're like, wow. And just anything, human body could just spend hours doing that. So I thought, well, what do I do, for that as a profession? And back in the day, you just didn't see what we have now. You didn't see, all the massage therapists and the acupuncturists, and even chiropractic was still really new. And I knew I shouldn't be going to med school because of the math aspect. So nursing was the thing that we all went into medically, it's like, and even then there were hardly any men, which I love to see now. So it was mostly women back then. So I went into nursing school, and it was brutal. I ended up picking a very, very hard school in California, and they made sure we knew everything, but I was so burned out at the end, and it wasn't the way I really wanted to do it. I wanted to do healing, but it was like, well, what? And then, at that time too, there weren't a lot of books on healing or anything like that. So for a little while in my 20s there, at that point, I married and had a couple of kids and did the housewife and mother thing at home, which I loved. I would never trade it. I loved the time I had. And then, 8 years into that or whatever, I got divorced. And at that point, I was starting to get really restless in terms of, I felt like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. So I went back to, I'd been in yoga and really strong in that, but I went back to wanting to go into it. And at that point, there were a lot more modalities, so I wanted to do that. So I hit the circuit in terms of the aura camera at the fairs and things. So I started working with the aura camera, one of the, first few years where they did that, and that got me trained in color reading in terms of reading the aura. So I take the, they come up and they get a picture, and then I'd read them. At one point, what really put me through my paces was I had about 40 in line. It was just me. So I had to take a picture, quickly read it, so it was left brain, right brain, and so that got me faster at doing it. And then I just started meeting the right people, and I didn't take very many classes, a couple, but they helped. And next thing I know, I'm hanging up my own shingle, and that was the start of just most of what has come through has not been something that I trained in. It just came through.
No, right.
So it's a whole new thing that came through. Yeah. So, and then at that point, about a year into having hung up my shingle and had my first person, actually a miracle healing, which was amazing. You get a miracle at the beginning, but you don't always the rest of the time. But I think it's to encourage you. The universe is encouraging you. And so about a year in, I was terribly shy to get up in front of people at the time. That's changed. But I was asked by my guidance to start doing lectures, and I went, oh my God. And I knew the local metaphysical bookstore owners, and I said, so can I come talk? Like, sure, you can come talk. So I was a little butterflies and all that until I got up and started talking about color healing, which I'd been doing about a year at that point. It was not very developed. I had about an afternoon worth of classes at the most. And that was it, 5 minutes in, and I was hooked. So, that opened up that. Actually, I wasn't doing classes right then and there. I started doing classes, but I didn't have a lot of material at that point. Mm-hmm. So I only had about an afternoon or 3 hours worth of stuff. But after I started teaching a lot, the information would pour in. So that's kind of it in a nutshell of how I got into the color.
Well, that's encouraging what you said to, there's probably many listeners that feel like they want to teach, but they keep waiting for more knowledge and more knowledge. You got to start somewhere. So that was encouraging for you to say that, I believe.
You do.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So,
well, I had enough. I mean, I knew the basics and things, but I finally got enough by just experience with people for a year to be able to pass on what I knew, but certainly not in a series of classes at that point.
Right, exactly. So what is color healing?
Well, it is something that's actually very ancient, but it's really kind of new coming to this time period in the last millennium, and this is a new one here, because I started it in the 1980s, in terms of putting it out there, and now, of course, we're into the new millennium. It's still kind of new. I mean, you'll see more people starting to do that kind of thing than when I began. But what it is, color is like, it's light that is, that emanates from source, and initially it can also emanate from other dimensions as well as the source one, but color is like frequency of light. So we all know about light and love and everything. Color breaks down that light into a spectrum. So you have like hues and shades, and they're all vibrating at specific frequencies. So, and with each kind of ray, or what Archangel Michael's called laser light energy. I got that from Michael back in the 80s. It can be used for all kinds of things, not just, the healing work, but it's so much a part. People are very, I think, unless there's been some bad experiences in other lives, and there's been that's a whole other subject, which could put some people off of color because they're scared of a couple of the hues or a couple of the actual rays because of misuse in previous times, like Atlantis. Most people are open because they love the idea of color around. I mean, people really are responsive to color.
Okay. So, well, we're going to stop right here and take a quick break, and we'll come back and finish up on this.
Oh, sounds good.
Hello, and welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. And I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today, we're talking with Alijandra about color healing. And when we left off our break, she was just telling us what color healing is. So, Alijandra, I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. Well, let's see. Trying to think what I haven't said about it. So much involved with it. I'll say right off that I think it's fabulous. Of course, that's my baby. And I'm going to just, I'm here to put it out there and to pioneer the work with it. And I've even actually said to my guides, because it's taken a long time to sort of find its niche, or, to find its like a larger audience, as much as this, as long as I've been around and as international as it is, it's just not, it's not like the level of Reiki, for example. Yeah. And I said to my guides, so I think it just came in too soon. And they're like, what do you expect? If you're going to pioneer something, you have to show up before it.
Exactly.
Oh, duh. So, yeah. But you kind of feel a little frustrated at times. But basically, people, unless they've been, as I left off saying before, unless they've been really abused by, one of the rays in a previous lifetime. Atlantis was a big culprit. Another topic, of course.
Right.
So they may be, it's in the DNA. They're a little bit afraid of certain colors. Usually, it's either black or it's red. And red was the Atlantis one. They are responsive to color. And I found also, too, not forget to say this later, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but if you feel like a resistance at the lightest form and hatred is the worst form of a certain color, you usually have issues with the chakra of that color.
Oh.
And so that's a good indicator to me. Orange is a biggie for the women particularly, and some men too. But orange is the second chakra, and it has a lot to do with your sexuality. It has shaman abilities there for those who become shamans. It also is very much an earthy, creative kind of energy, a little different than the throat, which tends to be more of a speaking variety, or an artistic.
Right.
You'll see that orange chakra having a lot to do with, like construction with your hand, or creating with your hands, or the garden type of thing. But it also is highly, about your sexuality, and so many women have been abused. So if they see orange, it's like, yuck, Now, a lot of times people have a hard time wearing that color. I mean, orange is not an easy color to wear, but they're different hues, and some are,
right,
a little prettier to wear, especially if they're infused with pink or something. But you'll see some of them will be really scared of the orange. And I know almost
I love orange.
Without a doubt, generally there's been abuse. I know, I do. I've been wearing orange for years.
And I
but
wear
I
it
have abuse problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I found, for me, there was never any abuse that way. But for so many women, when I first started out, now a lot of them are healing that, and you see not so much of that. They'll just be, they just can't stand to even be around the colors. There's issues. So when you don't like a color, there is something in the DNA you're bringing forward in this lifetime, or something that's happened in this lifetime that has put you off the color. Doesn't matter what shade or hue of the color it is. But back to about, color, basically, you'll find that, it has so many healing properties you can work and should. Of course, color will work at all these levels. The usual four, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Those are the four bodies that we have in the incarnation. Okay, we have a physical body. Now, in other levels, we don't have a physical body, but here we have that. Now, you can add in two more bodies, which are the etheric, which is your blueprint for this lifetime. It's sort of your architect's plan of what you've come here to do. And that's a level that's closest to the body in terms of aura. And then the next one out is your DNA, genetic. So that's your genetic DNA one. So you could get more specific, but you could work with even just leaving those out and work with the others, like the regular physical. So if you want to get a little more specific, you can work with those levels. So, yeah, so it's working multi-body and at high spiritual levels. The great thing about color is it's not using pigmented in the way I do it. Yes, there are modalities out there that use color swatches, what you paint your room, what you wear on your body, the light filters, where you take a high-powered 200 or 300 power watt lamp or a bulb that goes in the lamp, and then you put the color filters over it and you lie under them. And I've had that experience too. And when I first did it, I was right during a kind of a flu. I mean, I was kind of functional. I was walking around, but it still wasn't good. And so I laid under one, and it was a turquoise. And it took about half an hour, but then I went into a healing crisis, which I started feeling a lot of things of clearing it, and it left. So it does work. It might take a little longer than hands-on, but I work with the hands-on, hands-on or hands at the orc level, depending on what people prefer to operate with. Some don't like to do hands-on, some do. So, it's a quicker method, kind of like Reiki. It's very much like Reiki, actually, except it's working specifically with the colors.
So is that why you named it? Is that why you named it Rainbow Rays?
Yeah, that's what came through from Archangel Michael initially, was that they're the rays of the rainbow. So I, when I was coming into settling on a name for what I was doing that first year or so, might have been into the second, but I think I started it right from the beginning. And I just shifted it around and just called it Healing with the Rainbow Rays, not too different than your healing at soul level. And, so I like to, I wanted to have the healing right at the beginning there, Healing with the Rainbow Rays. So that's how it got its name. It just sort of initially came from one of my, most close and one of my guides I feel so connected to, which is Archangel Michael, which so many people have that connection with him. So it came from him.
Yes, mine's with Metatron.
Oh, me too. He's one of mine too.
Yes.
No, really. I mean, he's in the five that I have. He's one of the five that I use a lot of different guides, but he's up there, with Saint Germain and Melchizedek and Michael.
We're gonna stop right here and take a quick break. Hello and welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today we're talking with Alijandra about color healing. And during the break, she was telling me about the 13 original rainbow rays. And we don't have time to go through all 13, but I'd like for her to tell y'all a little bit more about, a few of the rays.
There's 13 original, ranging from red to black. And I also, and I got this from originally information at a center I used to be a part of many years ago that's not in existence any longer. But there is another ray and another chakra that people are not often aware of. Now, more and more people are seeing it now. It used to be in the mystery schools, and it's a second heart chakra. Now, there's other subtle chakras and other new ones that have come up and stuff, but this is an original actual chakra. So not just green at the heart chakra, there's also a rose one right above it. So that has made the actual 13, and we call the ones at the heart chakra 4A and 4B, so I don't get off on the numbering. It's just because if you say that the heart is 4 and then the rose is 5, then your throat chakra is 6. That's usually the third eye. So we purposely made an A and B at that chakra. So that's one of the 13 that a lot of times people don't are not aware of. And so really quickly, I'll just go through all 13 without saying what they are, just so you have them and you can write them down. There's red, orange, and of course they're also corresponding to the chakras, the chakra, order. And then yellow, green. Now there's the rose. And then the translucent blue or blue. This is like your light to medium blues. Then your third eye, which is an indigo blue, which is your medium up to the very dark midnight blues or navy, because all of these have a spectrum, within, ranging from very light of that color to very dark of that color. Okay. And then violet. We tend to say violet instead of purple, but you can say purple, but violet's more of a shade of the, crown chakra, but we just, it's really how you perceive it, and it's not wrong or right if you shift it or whatever. And then outside the body, we have etheric rays, and there's silver and gold, which are, silver is the feminine and gold is the masculine. both energies of creation. Then you have the triad of white, clear, and black. Originally, those three came from something like the Big Bang. It's like when creation came from the void, it went into the movement. Somehow it moved into these three that came out as this equal triad, and then from that, all the colors burst out of this, kind of like a big fountain or a big bang even. So all the colors did come from the original white, clear, and black, and they hold all the other colors of creation, not just the 13. So I've only given the 13 original. There's a lot of other ones over the years that have come through, blended colors and different aspects of those different original rays.
Interesting.
So, yeah, anything you want to ask about that specifically? Because, I'll just go on and on about it. Is there something you think that everyone would like to know or you would like to know? Just ask me. Happy to answer.
For the chakras, okay, so I understand about the heart ones because that's what I say pink, but I do know it's rose. But yeah, the green and the pink on the chakras.
Well, we call it rose too. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's so great. You're one of the few I've seen out there that actually, recognize the rose chakra. Wow.
Oh, nice. Yes, I use lots of times I'll use a rose crystal if I'm doing a certain healing. If I want to stick a crystal on their chest, it may be rose most likely, as opposed to aventure or a green color. That's just what I prefer. So,
well, that's amazing. It tells me a lot about your work because, when we first got this in the 80s about the other chakra, nobody questioned it really, but we realized nobody else was looking at that way. We couldn't find, anywhere else people working with that. So I'm glad to see that, more and more people are getting this intuitively. That it's there.
Yes.
So that's
and
wonderful.
I teach people that as well. Whenever I talk to them, I always tell them there's green and there's pink, so
fantastic.
Or rose. So I've also been taught that the crown chakra could be violet or a clear or a white, kind of a white color. Have you ever gotten that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Because even though if they're chakras, depends on where the people or what level the people are working at. You've seen probably over different personages, things like a gold aura right around the head or a white or silver. White's very common. They call it a halo, But all of those colors can shift too. And you can also, which is really fun to work with too, when you're in a color class at a certain level. I wouldn't do it in beginning class, but later on, you can change each chakra colors temporarily, and you can add colors to the chakras because it doesn't mess them up. What it does is when you infuse other colors into something like, say, the yellow chakra or whatever, you're going to get a different effect, and you're going to get a different, response and maybe a healing if it needs that specific color rather than the color of the chakra. Say you're looking to, rev up your personal will or, your personal power, empowerment. And say there's a chakra, especially at the lower three, and I don't rank them as lower and higher. They're all the same to me, and that's the way the guys look at it. There's no color that's superior, or no chakra that's superior. But say for some reason you needed to bring more empowerment into the orange chakra, for example, due to whatever it was, that brought that level down for you. If you made it a yellow-orange, for example, or brought yellow in, that could really, do some interesting things. But, you can mix colors. And also there are other levels of there's a difference. And we found that there's all the colors at all of the chakras. They have like petals almost, or aspects.
I don't mean to
any color.
interrupt you, but we do need to stop and take a quick break.
Okay.
Welcome back to Healing at Soul Level, and I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today we're talking with Alijandra about color healing, color energy healing, and we were talking about the rainbow rays. So how does the rainbow rays work within our bodies?
Okay, so just speaking of the original ones at this point, instead of getting too complicated with all the different aspects of that are multidimensional, so just using basically a red, for example, everyone knows that red's a warm color, and this is a wonderful color to energize if you're fatigued. Like, here's an example. Also, grounding is very good. So you're having trouble grounding, wear red. You say you got to get up for work, and you're just like dragging. Okay, you go to your closet, and your best bet is to see if you can find something red to wear. That'll help you. I mean, you could add a few other things to help wake you up and stuff. But in terms of color, it's good for energizing, a tired body and grounding into that body. Another example would be, let's take rose, emotional healing. It's also warm. It's the unconditional love energy. And I've wondered often in terms of the chakra, the rose chakra, why it went into the mystery schools. Why wasn't it? And I think it's because it has this unconditional love, and we sure haven't had unconditional love on this planet for a long time.
Right.
I mean, we'd have to go back to ancient history. You see examples, but in terms of the overall majority of the population, it just is always conditional love, if it's love at all, right? And
exactly.
That is such an amazing color, since these colors, the flames came in, since the original rays came in, the flames came in the late 90s. There was always the violet transmuting, but now all of these, we're working with the flame aspect as well. And in this,
what do you mean by flame?
You've heard of the transmuting violet flame of Saint Germain, where you use it to immerse yourself in the flame. Basically, it clears you and brings you to another level. These colors at source level are also flames, and they have an inner co-creator of the Elohim in each of the flames. Now the rays are at 12th dimensional level and have a guardian, so they're highly, highly intelligent essences. They're not just colors. So that's something for people to sort of munch on for a little bit. But the rose one I named transfigurational rose flame because it transfigures. It's just an amazing energy. So it's there to heal emotionally, really work with your emotional body.
Right.
And, areas that people have been, really, really traumatized, abused, feeling lack of a self-worth to be loved, that kind of thing. And another one was, I'm kind of picking from each section. So I did a physical, I did kind of an emotional, transitional, which the heart chakra is. We could do, let's do a mental, and that's indigo, third eye. It's also a spiritual aspect, and it's a cool ray, indigo. And this is good if you want to really balance your brain, because I've always been into brain research and working with the brain and color healing and working with the parts of the brain. I mean, we're real specific that they're conduits to multiple realities, working with different parts. And we do feel that having a balanced brain is what you strive for, not just emphasis on the right or emphasis on the left. So it would be good for balancing the brain, also for mental activity if you're needing to really focus logically or intuitively, like for reading and for artistic things and things that the right brain is about. Good to develop your clairvoyance, for example, because it's right up there at the third eye.
Exactly.
And then a spiritual one, of course, is like the violet crown chakra, and it's a spiritual chakra. It's cool also. This is about wisdom and enlightenment and, self-realization and connection to source spirit. your soul, your higher self, your oversoul, your monad. It's for all of that. And then the etherics, they're all specific things like masculine energy of creation, feminine energy. The clear is about truth and clarity, and it helps you to see what's really true. The clear ray, it's very Zen. Okay, I just think of that as a Zen ray, and they use it a lot. Tibetans use the clear a lot. And then the white is protection. We always know white's protection, and it's also has a lot to do with the messengers. Like messengers from spirit and things. And then the black ray. Oh, I have a whole class I initially went on the black ray because it was so maligned. People think black magic, and that's not true. Saint Germain said that black magicians use the elements: air, earth, fire, water, ether. They don't use the colors. And so, but black is the Tao of creation. Black is the black matter in space.
Black used to be my favorite color.
I don't know what to call.
Growing up, it used to be my favorite color.
It's always been up there for me. But my daughter used to wear nothing but black when she was a teenager, and not that she was goth, but she went through a period. But she had nothing but black clothes and her things because she wanted not to be in high school anymore. She wanted out, and she was trying to move forward out of that, and that's a movement. It's the biggest mover of creation. It's in all aspects of creation. Without it, we wouldn't be able to maintain creation. We would just implode back in. It's also for testing, and that's why some people are very leery of it. They don't want to be tested. And grounding. It's the best grounder we have. So it's the best mover and the best grounder.
It was probably the grounding that I liked because it made me feel sexy when I wore black.
Yeah. Well, it's still a very sexy ray because, for women, too, we like it because it's slimming. Men, I guess, as well, in terms of the color. But it's just so classic, and it's considered a high esteem color in terms of, what do you wear when you graduate? Now, people wear different colors now, but black is the traditional graduation. And also for, like, monks and nuns and everything, they wear black habits and black clothing, It is a sign of high-level attainment. But, yeah, it's always been one of my favorite, too. But it's really hard. It's like, which favorite baby do you have? But I absolutely adore the black. And I gave it a class where none of the other ones had their own class. And I did a Guardians of the Black Ray for many years. I felt like it needed to – I did nothing else in this life. It was to give that one the respect that it needed, to stop thinking of it as evil and stuff. And you know what? It's really different. 20 years ago, it was way different. It's really changed. People are getting it.
Good. Well, we're going to stop right here and take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today, we're talking with Alijandra about color healing. And during the break, she was telling me a little bit about unusual rays for the new age. And she also has books. So let's see if we can squeeze a little bit of both of that into this segment.
Okay. Well, the very first book was done in 1995, and I worked on it on and off for 7 years while I was still out in corporate, but I was actually, teaching and doing things like that. So it took a while. And that's out of print now. However, you can find it, in terms of, I don't have copies, but they're still floating around on Amazon. So you can get one. I heard one they were trying to sell for $1,000. Don't do that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What's the name of it?
You can still buy them for a lot less,
Right. What's the name of it?
I can't believe it. Healing with the Rainbow Rays. That's the first book. And you can still find it out there in hard copy. However, I do have an ebook aspect of it that you can get from me if you just want to get the ebook. And then after that, I wrote a book called Cosmic Chakras, which is in all the rest are in ebook form. And that was up there for a while. It's almost double the size of the first book with all the newer material in there, especially the flames and things like that. But I withdrew it because I'm going to be editing the first two books, completely editing. So I took it out, and so it's not available at the moment. But in the last few years, some of these new rays, which have been in for a while, I finally got into an ebook form. Unusual Rays of the New Age is one that holds what's called the metallic rays, and the fruit rays.
Ooh.
I know it seems crazy, but there are a lot of the rays that have a metallic look to them. And if you're a person that tastes clairvoyantly, actually it would be like, what do they call the tasting thing? Clairgustus
I forgot
or something?
because I don't
know.
have that one.
But
No, Gustus, I think, is knowing.
I always forget that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
and then
remember.
there's a smell too. You can smell rays as well, so it isn't just the usual ones. But a lot of people, it's even if they're not normally doing it, they actually, because these are so strong, they can actually smell and taste them oftentimes. And one of the first ones that come through was the lemonade. We call it the lemonade ray and flame. And it feels like it's from originally Atlantis. All of the ones that came through are from really high level. And you can say there's sort of aspects of the yellow ray, but it is its own ray specifically. And a lot of times people have said they could actually, and I've done it too, I've had it too, they can taste lemon drops, for example, in their mouth, or lemon in their mouth when they're using it, and sometimes you can smell it. And so it's very neat, kind of neon look to it, fluorescent neon. And so it's you know, it works with, what do I say, just high levels of what you would need yellow for, okay? Another one would be, let's give you a metallic. This is a good one. Just still seeing what comes up here. The metallic ruthenium. The ruthenium is on the periodic tables. I've given them names that people would recognize, like osmium or ruthenium, or something like that. So this one just came up. It shows us the ability to be timeless, the ability to time travel, if we're wanting to do that. Understanding both truth and illusion, and it's discernment of the shadow energies, because I'm a big believer in working with the shadow, that we don't get as far as we can spiritually unless we deal with our shadow self. And it's a part of the platinum group, which has rhodium, ruthenium, iridium, platinum, osmium, and all of these, of course, are rays, but they're flames as well. So you would, if you wanted to work with things like that, you would pull up the metallic ruthenium flame. So this unusual rays of the New Age is just an ebook. I don't know off the top of my head, but I think it's $15. And people are wanting to know how much it is. And I have pictures in color inside that shows us, as best we can do it, the way it looks in pigmented color, because they're so radiant. Very hard to put radiant color down on paper. So for the graphics artists, we did our best here. Yeah, so these are new things. So I have that, available. I have just multiple levels of MP3s from various online webinars that I did. We work with, also besides those two, I've been working with the gemstone rays and the flower rays. They're a little more new, meaning I haven't done as many of those, but lavender flower is ray, lavender flower ray or flame it's healing oriented, of course. And that's one that, that we've done. And a gemstone example would be the mystic merlinite gemstone. I never even heard of merlinite. It's an amazing energy. And that the flames will come in and rays come in those types of categories. Okay, so that's a gemstone one. So we call it the mystic merlinite.
Merlinite.
So there's just tons. I've got. That's not. Those two are in MP3s. They're not in books yet. But the unusuals have all the fruit that I had currently done. I mean, more keep coming in, but up to a certain point, and then they have the metallics up to a certain point. There's also one that came in later, which was last year, I think it was, year and a half ago or so, is variations on the violet flame, all the different variations of the violet flame. It's not just the violet flame. It's like the gold violet flame, the silver violet flame, the yellow violet flame, the seafoam green violet flame. So we did
Wow.
36 variations. I'm sure there's more, and then how to work with them. There's also MP3s if you don't like to read, because none of these are in audiobooks yet. You can always get an MP3. They've been edited and music added to go through the whole online webinar just as though you were really there.
Oh, okay.
So you can always get these past classes, by just ordering the MP3 of the class. And and there's just a lot of other areas. I did a whole section on the divas, nature kingdom, and also the different angelic realms. We did an Elohim class. And then I've got all my hyperspace stuff, which is going through wormholes, working with different planets, different star systems, and the energies there, and including that. One of my favorite things is working with black holes. So that's something too.
Oh, my son would love that. We're going to stop right here and take a quick break. Right back. Hello and welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today we're talking with Alijandra about color energy therapy or color energy healing. And we're close to the end of our show, so I'd like for her to let everybody know about any of her classes or healings and how to get in contact with her.
Okay, well, a couple ways you can contact me. One is go to the website at www.colorhealing.com, and I better mention that color spelled the American way, because I've other people in other countries that spell it with an O-U-R instead of a C-O-L-O-R.
O-R.
So a lot of times people weren't able to find me because they were spelling it the way that their country spells it. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to grab that domain in time. I would have gotten that one. But it's the American way, C-O-L-O-R, HEALING.com, all one word. And it has my details in there, but I'll also give out the phone number today, and that's 408-986-8550. I'll do it again, 408-986-8550. And also you can email me at Alijandra, ALIJANDRA 7777. That's because I'm resonate with a 7. So there's 4 sevens there at yahoo.com.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all one too. So Alijandra 7777 at Yahoo. So I'll you can go to Facebook and everything, but I'm not on it as much as I should be. So sometimes it could be a week or two before I get a message from you. But if it's the only way to get a hold of me, say you're in another country and, it's too expensive to phone or something, I would still do email first. But if somehow you can't, you can do Facebook. I do finally get it. I do have 3 sites there: Healing with the Rainbow Rays, Accelerated Manifesting, with an A, Accelerated Manifesting, and then Rainbow Dolphin Pod Healing, which dolphins I could do a whole show on. And so I have that one. I'm also on Twitter at Alijandra with 4 sevens. And occasionally on Instagram when I can figure out how to do it. Somebody else is doing it for me. And I keep forgetting how to get the picture down and over to the other place and stuff. So, but you can go over. There is stuff there that you can look at. And I promise to be more present on that one. So that's the social media stuff. And I do have a special coming up. I'm half price for a very short time. It's very rare for me, and my mailing list was taking advantage of that. It's off now. It just ended yesterday for that, but I'm going to offer it again for the listeners. And as of today, up to the 11th of September, it will be half off. That's normally for an hour, it's $100 an hour, and so that would be just $50. And you have to sign up first, and then we'll do the fee, and then we'll talk about what the best time is. I'm going to say this is good for 2 weeks up to, let's see, I'll go as far as the 21st of September.
Okay,
Now, if you're down
September
under, don't
21st.
worry about it. I understand that your day difference, but let's say, on this side of the Western Hemisphere here, till the 21st. Yeah.
Okay.
You'll need to, to if you want to get it.
Contact
and then
you.
you can use it later than that if you want. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on my show today, Alijandra. It was a real experience and eye-opener.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad you found me, and it was really enjoyable. And I love the work you're doing. Keep it up. I did hosting for
Thank
5
you.
years, so I know what it takes to put a show on. So my
Thank you.
respect to you.
Okay. Well, tune in next week as we dispel the negativity surrounding witchcraft with my guest, Jordan Copeland. To listen to this podcast and other podcasts, go to my website, in-di-goh-qi.com. You've been listening to Healing at Soul Level, and I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Thank you for tuning in. Love and light.
This has been Healing at Soul Level with host Shawna Williams. Listen each week as Shawna will help you discover the different healing modalities and how to use them in your everyday life, right here on Shawna Williams' Healing at Soul Level.